So today we're going to be checking out a brand new bike from ASYNC called the L5. Now this is a high step version. They also have the L3, which is a step through version of the fat tire electric bike segment. Now this isn't the first ASYNC bike you've seen here on the channel. You've seen the A1 Pro as well as the H7, which is a high performance cross country electric mountain bike with a mid-drive motor. The A1 is more of a moped style bike, and now they're jumping into the fat tire segment, which I'm extremely stoked about because they're bringing a lot of these design elements from the previous bikes to this bike, which is heavily needed in this segment. With that being said, I've had the privilege to be able to ride this bike and put it through its paces for the past 2 weeks. And today I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on what this bike is capable of and if you should buy one. Now the ASYNC L5 retails for $1,799 and comes in a step-through model like we spoke about before. It also comes in 3 different colors, and today I'm riding the silver with black. It comes in black and orange as well as fully blacked out, which looks amazing. Now the L5 that I'm riding here today is best for riders between 5'1" and 6'4" in height, with a max total rider weight of 330 pounds. Now me being 6 foot tall with a total rider weight of 184 pounds, the overall ergonomics and weight of this bike feel really good to me. Now with high performance in the title, it is to be expected to have some type of high performance with the bike. Now this bike does have a top speed of 28 miles per hour and ships that way right out of the box with a max range of 75 miles on pedal assist and 45 miles on throttle only. I did find myself in pedal assist level 5 the entire time when riding this bike, and I found that I got a max range at about 45 to 50 miles on pedal assist level 5, pedaling hard the entire time. Like I said earlier, I've traveled about 140 miles on this bike so far and don't feel fatigued at all, but I would say that I would be replacing the saddle here in the near future if this was a bike I rode on a regular basis. Now the overall power out of this bike was really pleasing and to be expected out of a 750 watt motor. The motor is a 52 volt 750 watt motor with 1280 watt peak with 80 newton meters of torque. Now the battery powering this bike, giving you that range of upwards of 75 miles with that max peak torque of 80 newton meters, is a 52 volt 20 amp hour battery pack that is Samsung 21700 cells. Now zooming out and looking at the design of the L5, it takes a lot of the same elements from the other flagship bikes and bakes it into this design, making it really seamless across the board. It brings one of the best features from the A1 Pro to this bike, such as a 5.5 inch color display, which is really intuitive with the bike. Now the L5 is a go anywhere kind of bike, but I wanted to find out what the performance capabilities were out of this bike. I did ride it on traditional trails, and it is to be expected on how this bike would ride on a traditional gravel trail or a paved trail. But taking this thing off the beaten path is what it is made for. With that being said, these 26-inch CST tires were definitely put to the test, and I did not get any punctures at all, and I was cruising over rugged terrain, roots, thorns, and even worse. With that being said, the suspension was very responsive for this riding, and I did find it to have a pretty decent rebound. Now this isn't the type of bike I would take to a downhill mountain bike course, but I wanted to see what this bike was capable of, not only for you guys the viewers, but me as a rider. I want to see if this bike can actually take a little bit of a beating if I take it on a trail that maybe isn't so forgiving, such as a gravel trail. Now when pedaling on this gravel trail, I found that the torque sensor was really responsive over a cadence sensor. I do feel like the cadence sensors are something that are going to be within the past here pretty soon. If you had the opportunity to ride a torque sensor, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how responsive it can be, and every bit of effort that you're putting in, you're getting rewarded for it. Now with the overall bike weight of 79 pounds, I felt like this bike was firmly planted on the ground and didn't feel like it was going to get out from underneath me. Yet again, I also felt like it was pretty easy to maneuver if I needed to maneuver it, whether getting it on the bike rack or just flying through the trail and feeling like I was one with the trail. Now with all that being said, let's talk about my speed test, my brake test, and the hill test. Now for the speed test in pedal assist and throttle only, I do want to let you know that this bike was capped out at 20 miles per hour, but it is shipping with an unlocked speed of 28 miles per hour. My overall distance I traveled in the speed test pedal assist 1 through 5 was 1,136 feet with a max speed of 23 miles per hour, an average speed of 18.5 miles per hour, and a total time of 44 seconds. Now in throttle only, I did a total distance of 1,051 feet with a max speed of 21.7 miles per hour, an average speed of 18.7 miles per hour in 39 seconds. I found that the hydraulic disc brakes with 160mm rotors were pretty responsive, and the knobby tires on a paved trail definitely made it for a really quick responsive stopping time. Now in the hill test, I take all my bikes to the same hill in every video to give you guys a good representation of what to expect out of every bike you see on the channel. This is a double switchback hill with a 15-degree grade, and I did it in pedal assist level 5 as well as throttle only to see what type of responsiveness you would have out of it. To give you guys a good representation of what to expect out of this bike, because most people are riding these bikes in either the highest pedal assist level or throttle only. Now I found that in pedal assist level 5, the torque sensor definitely put in that work. Every bit of effort I was putting into that torque sensor, I was getting rewarded for it at every single turn. I had a top speed of 20 miles per hour on the second straightaway, and when I made that turn for that 15-degree grade, that bike continued to want to keep going. Now with throttle only, I had a max speed of 16 miles per hour, and I did not feel like the bike was lagging at all. I felt like it was pretty consistent throughout the entire hill. But overall, the bike tackled the speed test, the brake test, and the hill test pretty well and outshined a lot of different bikes I've featured here on the channel. Let's get back to the shop and talk about my final thoughts. Now in closing, the L5 brings a lot to the table in my opinion. I put about 140 miles on this bike over the course of 2 weeks, and the only thing that I would say that I would change right away would be the saddle, but that's something that I change basically on any bike that I'm putting a lot of miles on. Sitting for about 50 miles each ride can definitely be taxing on your butt. With that being said, the overall ergonomics of this bike felt awesome. The knurling on these grips made me feel like I'm on a traditional mountain bike, and the overall feel and look of this bike definitely is something that I go after when I'm making a purchase. I usually try to think about 3 things when I'm making a purchase: price, performance, and power, and I do think that it shined in all 3 of those categories for that price point of $1,799. So if you're interested in the L5 or any other ASYNC model, click the link in the description below to be able to check out all their bikes. With that being said, if you guys have any suggestions for future videos, put them in the comments below. If you guys like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.